Hey, as a builder, you understand the value of having a top sales producer, a salesperson that sells more than just 2 homes each month. This not only drives your revenue, but also alleviates the pressure on your business. Well, that's precisely what we aim to help you achieve. In 2019, recognizing the need for truly exceptional sales talent, I integrated a dedicated recruiting division into my new home sales training company. Although our sales training was improving sales for our clients, the full potential wasn't being realized without the right salespeople on board. So here's what we do. We headhunt a top sales professional for you. We provide intensive onboarding, training, and coaching tailored to your specific needs for 90 days. Moreover, we stand behind our service with a 6-month performance guarantee. For an investment of just $16,000 per recruit, our commitment is clear. Our recruits will outperform and outsell your current salespeople by a significant margin. So if you're ready to enhance your sales performance and secure higher profits, then let's discuss how we can bring a top-tier sales producer to your team. Again, we only onboard 2 new builders per week. So if you are ready to get started, then contact me, Jason Forrest, or a member of my team at sales@fpg.com. And one more thing, as a free gift to you, I wanted to share with you my Moneyball secrets to evaluate salespeople. This is exactly what we do when we recruit and what we have been teaching home builders like you since 2006. So enjoy this next video as my free gift to you. We have trained 10,000 salespeople from around the world, and we have determined that there are these 5 core success factors that the top 20% have that you don't end up seeing in the bottom 80% of the sales force. Now, I didn't always know this. When I was in MBA school, I was taught by my professors to look for work experience as the key factor to determine if a salesperson was a great hire or not. This was later reinforced when I worked for a Fortune 500 company, and the HR department took me through my new hire manager orientation class when I was 25 years old, and they said, we only hire salespeople that have at least 3 to 5 years of industry experience. So I took that advice and I ran with it as the #1 criteria for who I hired. The problem I ran into was I started realizing that sometimes I hired people with industry experience that ended up being top salespeople for me, but a lot of the time, those salespeople that had industry experience and even awards on their resume, such as President's Club winner, didn't always correlate to the same success when I hired them for my company. So if it's not industry experience, then what does predict if a salesperson is going to be successful? And why were my MBA professors and the HR training I went through wrong? In this video, I'm going to share with you what I believe are the 5 core success factors that I look for at FPG. And this is after 20 years of recruiting, training, and coaching salespeople from around the world. I have seen my share of those that I really believed were going to be great. And of course, they failed. And those that I wasn't so sure about that surprised the heck out of me and became a top sales producer. So for those who don't know me, I'm Jason Forrest, CEO of FPG.com, where we recruit, train, and build the best sales teams who want to be known for as having the best sales experience in their industry. I do these videos because I don't want you to waste your money on bad sales advice. So I want to offer you advice that's better for free. All right, since we are a sales recruiting company, our clients are giving us their money because they either don't have the time or the skills to recruit a top salesperson for them. At the same time, they put their trust in FPG to help them find a salesperson that starts selling fast. Look, I understand this level of trust that is given to us because I have been there when I have to have salespeople start selling fast to help turn my company around to become profitable. Look, the stakes are very high when it comes to recruiting the wrong salesperson. If it's done incorrectly, then it can hurt the company's brand reputation, company morale, profitability, renewals with existing clients. I have seen companies mess this up so many times, and it ends up taking them close to 12 months to turn things around. So I had to figure it out. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 factors that so many companies overlook when they're recruiting and hiring salespeople. But have become the must-haves for us and the hundreds of sales organizations we represent. And by the way, we only work with the top sales companies in each of their industry. So let me share with you how I first figured this out. So I'm watching this movie, Moneyball. Yes, I should have read the book, but I watched the movie instead. This movie is based on the true story of the Oakland A's 2002 Major League Baseball season. Billy Beane was the general manager and needed to break the rules of scouting baseball players because his player hiring budget was $40 million, but the Yankees had a budget of $126 million, and it was impossible to ever beat the Yankees with 1/3 of the hiring budget, unless, what a great word, unless, he found a different way to value players. So he used a concept called sabermetrics, which gave him a new advantage by valuing players that other teams undervalued, which meant he could get great players at a discount. At the same time, Major League scouts would value players based on surface traits like how fast they were, how good looking they were. Yeah, that was one of the traits. Could they hit a home run? Could they steal bases? And this was crazy, but yes, did they have an attractive girlfriend? For some reason they thought that an attractive girlfriend, they were more confident. I don't know. By looking through the lens of mathematics, Billy Beane realized those traits were not predictive indicators that meant a new recruit would become a successful baseball player. He realized that teams were overvaluing these surface traits, but in the end, what really mattered was could they get on base. Even if the player bunted and got on base, that player was more valuable than the players who would occasionally hit home runs that everyone loved to see, but they barely got on base. So in that 2002 season, the Oakland A's and the New York Yankees both achieved 103 wins, which is crazy. But the Yankees paid $1.2 million per win, and the Oakland A's only paid $388,000 per win. Billy Beane was the pathfinder that forever changed baseball. Every team since that season has copied the Oakland A's recruiting strategy. So while I was watching this movie, I realized that I was doing the same wrong things that professional baseball scouts were doing to overvalue players. I was just doing it to overvalue salespeople. And the biggest one I was locked onto was industry experience. So right now, I want to share with you, after analyzing thousands of salespeople from around the world and then narrowing them down to a sample of 100 top producers that we call Coachable G.U.M.Ps. Yes, inspired by my last name, Forrest, of course. There's these 5 core traits that make them the best in their industry. And again, this is regardless of their professional appearance, age, outward energy, or of course, industry experience. As I go through each core trait, I want you to determine, based on my description, if the people on your sales team have this trait. So write each salesperson's name you have on your team down on a page in front of you, so you can write if they have the trait or don't have the trait next to their name. All right? Are you ready? Because here are the 5 core traits of a top sales producer that, again, we call a coachable G.U.M.P. The first factor of a top sales producer is, are they coachable? See, being coachable is when the sales manager gives advice or direction on how to move the sale forward or a specific strategy to execute the salesperson, and the salesperson, of course, says, look, I'll try it and let you know how it goes. The one who is not coachable will have 100 questions and what ifs before they execute, such as, hey, Jason, have you thought about blank, or are you sure this is going to work and not be a waste of time? When the salesperson isn't coachable, the sales manager has to use up a lot of internal energy and time to persuade the uncoachable person to try something new. So right now, I want you to write next to each name of your sales people a big C next to the person that is coachable, a little c if they are kind of somewhat coachable, and don't write a C next to their name if they are not coachable. All right, the next factor of a top sales producer is, are they goal-oriented? See, being goal-oriented means the salesperson knows their sales pipeline without being asked. They're always clear on their sales targets and their strategy on how they're going to move their next deal forward. When the salesperson is not goal-oriented, you have to come to them and say, hey, can you tell me what you have in your pipeline and what your forecast is for the month? And of course they say, oh, yeah, can you give me to the end of the day? Oh, crap. I need to get into my CRM to pull a report. Hey, can you reset my CRM password? Because I can't really get in. All right, so now right next to your salesperson's name a big G if they're goal-oriented, a little g if they're kind of goal-oriented, or no G if they don't know their CRM password. All right, the third factor of a top sales producer is they're unleashed of sales excuses. Excuses such as, look, people aren't buying right now because of the interest rates or the economy, or I got this COVID thing, or you know what, I'm afraid if I don't discount the price, I'm gonna lose the sale. Or if I close too hard, I'm gonna push the prospect away. So I'm gonna give a little space. So right now, next to your salesperson's name, write a big U if they are unleashed of excuses, or a little u if they're sometimes unleashed but do have a few excuses. And of course, do not write the letter U if they do have excuses for why they are not closing deals. All right, the fourth factor of a top sales producer is they are internally motivated. Now, motivation is not outward energy in all situations. I've many times had biases that a salesperson had energy at the interview, but didn't end up having motivation. See, motivation in this context is how much of their internal drive are they going to give to moving sales forward for you versus competing priorities that they have outside of work. For example, I remember I hired a salesperson one time that I thought was going to crush it for me, but soon realized that he had 2 other side hustles going on that spread his motivation too thin. He interviewed perfectly, of course, based on his enthusiasm, but if I would have dug deeper, and I should have, I would have soon realized that wasn't going to be all in with me. Like, he wasn't going to give me all of that energy. So now, next to your salesperson's name, write a big M if they have lots of drive and they give that motivation to selling for you and not any side hustle. Write a little m if they are somewhat all in but do have outside distractions such as home problems or side hobbies or kind of personal distractions. And lastly, do not write a M if their mind is always thinking about too many things outside of the sales job. All right, the fifth factor of a top sales producer is, are they procedural? So being procedural is one of 65 different meta patterns in the brain. These patterns are how each of us are internally wired. A procedural-based salesperson loves following predictable processes that lead to predictable results. They're all about a certain routine, and they know if they follow that routine, they're going to win. The opposite of this is an option-based salesperson. An option-based salesperson, which of course I call a Rambo, refuses to follow a sales process and will tell you that every customer is different, so what's the point? They're also very difficult to train on a system or a process as well. So, is it possible for an option-based salesperson to be successful? Yeah, of course. But the problem is they're not consistent, and you can't depend on their results. You will never know if they're going to have a great month or a horrible month because they don't follow a process. So, right now, right next to your salesperson's name, a big P if they are procedural, a little p if they are somewhat procedural, and do not write a P if they are option-based. All right, there you have the 5 core factors that make up the top 20% sales producers in the world. Again, they're called Coachable G.U.M.Ps. So, how did you score? Do you have anyone on your team that is a all-in Coachable G.U.M.P? If you do, are they your top producer? And if they are your top producer, did they come with industry experience or not? In most cases, when I do this exercise, most Coachable G.U.M.Ps did not come with industry experience, but the ones on the team with industry experience are not Coachable G.U.M.Ps and therefore are not top producers. Look, I know I should not get caught up in the should-haves of my past mistake, but it's amazing how many mistakes I made in my early years, not hiring Coachable G.U.M.Ps and instead locking on to the must-have industry experience that I was taught so early on. So, my hope is for you that you learn from the mistakes that I have made along with the thousands of hours of research that my team at FPG has used to come up with our Moneyball of sales recruiting. May you stop hiring salespeople based on the surface qualities that don't matter, but instead start hiring salespeople for the 5 factors that predict a future high sales producer for you. Just imagine if you had 5 more Coachable G.U.M.Ps than you do right now. How many more sales would your company be earning? How many more employees could you employ with that increased sales revenue? And most importantly, How many more businesses and lives could you improve through your products and services with just more coachable G.U.M.Ps? Until next time, this is Jason Forrest. Push yourself to become a better version of you.